Good afternoon. My name is Molly, and I play golf at an elite level. I've been playing since I was 4, and I currently have a handicap of plus 2.2. In 2023, I won the Scottish Girls Under-16s Open Championship, and I've played in plenty of places around the world. I plan to go study in America for university and come away with a business bachelor's degree. I got into golf with my dad, and currently practice around 6 times a week for multiple hours a day, and attend around 3 gym sessions a week. I hope to go pro one day. I would say that people would describe me as quite the outspoken person, and when I disagree with something, I definitely like to make it vocal. I'd also think people may say that I'm quite straightforward looking and very down to earth. Wait, let me start again. Good afternoon. My name is Molly, and I'm currently studying double BTEC Sport and English Literature. I really enjoy reading and writing, and nothing means more to me than my friends. I would describe myself as a very compassionate, but also quite self-conscious person, and I rely a lot on other people's opinions on me. I hope to go to Edinburgh University one day and study English or sports psychology. After that, I have no idea what I want to do or be. This past season, I felt completely lost. Golf has always been the core of who I am, the thing that gave me purpose, structure, and a sense of accomplishment. But after this summer, it didn't feel like any of that at all. Every time I stepped onto the course, I felt disconnected from myself, like I was performing for everyone else but me. I lost all motivation, the excitement, and even the things I used to love about the game felt heavy, like a weight that I just couldn't lift. I kept asking myself why I was even doing this in the first place. And the harder I tried to find the answer, the emptier it made me feel. I compared myself constantly to my teammates, to other golfers, to anyone who seemed to handle everything so effortlessly. Their confidence, their progress, their consistency, it all felt like a mirror reflecting my own failures. And it made me want to quit more than anything. The pressure to meet expectations from coaches, parents, friends, even myself, was suffocating. And I just couldn't see a way to breathe through it all. Every swing, every shot, every practice felt like a test that I was failing. And with every failure, I questioned not just my ability, but who I even was outside of the game. Result after result, practice after practice, I was being told to just keep going. That everyone goes through this, and you regret it if you quit. But the mental load was getting bigger and bigger, heavier and heavier, and I just couldn't find a way to deal with it all anymore. But it wasn't just the golf that I was struggling with. It was everything that I had tied to it. My identity, my self-worth, my sense of direction. All of it felt fragile, like sand slipping through my fingers. I realized that I'd spent so much time defining myself by achievements and performance that I just didn't know who I was without them. I doubted my intelligence, my relationships, my ability to be a good friend or a good student, and even my right to exist in my own skin. Some days, I would lie awake, feeling hollow, paralyzed by this emptiness, wondering if I'd ever feel motivated again, or remember why I even loved the game in the first place. I felt ashamed for struggling, ashamed that I couldn't just push through like everyone else told me to, ashamed that something that had always been my identity was now the source of so much pain. Even when I realized that my value wasn't tied to golf, that feeling didn't leave. I was stuck, trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and fear, uncertain of how to rebuild myself, uncertain if I even knew how to find her. The girl who had loved the game, who had confidence, who felt like herself. The weight of that uncertainty has been difficult to cope with, almost unbearable, because I lost my sense of self in the only world that I knew. Golf can be an incredibly lonely sport. It's just you and your own thoughts. And sometimes that silence can be unbearable. There's no teammates to pass the ball to when you're struggling, no one to hide behind when things go wrong. Every mistake is yours. Every bad shot, every mental lapse, every round that doesn't go as you'd hoped, it all comes back to you. When you rely so much on a sport like I do, that kind of accountability can eat away at you. You end up feeling like you're in a constant conflict, not just with the course or the competition, but with yourself. You're fighting your swing, your nerves, your expectations, and your own thoughts, all at once. There's no escape from your mind out there. It's quiet, but it's nowhere near peaceful. It's loud in a different kind of way, and it's a space where your doubts echo, and you realize that most of the time, your hardest opponent is yourself. At the minute, it feels like everyone has something to say about how I'm doing. Like my entire life is up for debate. If I focus on school, people say that I'm not committed enough to golf. If I spend more time practicing, they tell me that I'm falling behind academically. If I want to make time for friends, they say I'm getting distracted and just going to fail. No matter what I do, it's wrong to someone. Everyone has an opinion, but it seems like no one actually understands what it feels like to live in the middle of it, constantly being pulled in every direction, trying to be everything for everyone, and still somehow ending every day feeling like I've failed. I can't remember the last time I did something and didn't immediately question if it's the right thing to be doing. I'm always calculating, adjusting, second-guessing, apologizing. It's like I'm walking on eggshells, balancing expectations that were never made for a real person to handle. But that pressure doesn't just come from others. It's in my own head. This voice that never shuts up, constantly telling me I'm not doing enough, not working hard enough, not good enough. I tell myself to relax, but even resting feels like guilt. Every hour off feels like I'm falling behind. I am so tired of trying to please everyone and still ending every day feeling like a disappointment. It's exhausting in a way that goes deeper than any physical tiredness. It's a kind of mental and emotional burnout that seeps into everything I do. I wake up already drained, go to school exhausted, but carry on when all I want to do is give up. I care so much that it physically hurts. But no matter how much I give, it's never enough. It's like I'm constantly chasing approval that never lasts. Constantly performing for people who don't even realize how much of myself I'm actually giving away. Sometimes, I wonder who I'd be if I didn't play golf. And the truth is, I don't really know. My whole life has revolved around it. From the early mornings to the late nights, the endless conversations about scores and rankings. It's all I've ever known. And somewhere along the way, it stopped being something that I did and became something that I now am. That is what scares me. Because when things go wrong, when I play badly, when I lose my confidence, when I doubt myself, it's not just my game that's falling apart. It's me. My entire identity feels attached to how well I perform. I have spent years hearing people introduce me as the golfer, that I started to believe that is all I was. It's like my only worth exists when I'm succeeding. And when I'm not, I just disappear. I don't know how to separate myself from the sport anymore. Who am I without golf? What do I enjoy outside of it? Sometimes I think that people wouldn't care about me in the same way if I wasn't as good. If I didn't have that label attached to my name anymore. That thought hurts a lot. Because deep down, I know that I've built my entire identity on something that can be taken away with one injury, one bad season, one burnout. And I hate that. I hate that I don't know who I am without it. I hate that this stupid sport has so much control over me. And I hate that I let something I loved turn into the thing that now defines my entire existence. I think that's the hardest part about being an athlete. You put every part of yourself into your sport because you love it. But through that process, you forget why you even started in the first place. There's this unspoken pressure that comes when you have given everything to a sport. When it's not just a hobby anymore, but your whole life. At some point, it stops feeling like a choice and just feels like an obligation. I have spent years training, competing, sacrificing everything, time, friendship, school, even parts of myself, all for golf. My family too. Every tournament, every lesson, every trip, it all comes from their belief in me. I love them so much for it, but it does carry a lot of weight. Because when people have invested so much into your dream, it just stops feeling like your dream. And it feels like something you owe them. And the scariest part is, I don't even know if I want to go pro anymore. But how are you supposed to say that out loud when everyone around you has already decided that that is your future? How do you admit that maybe something you've worked for your entire life might not be what you want anymore? Or worse, you're probably not even good enough to get there. But it just feels like I've reached the point of no return. I've given so much that the idea of walking away feels impossible. But staying on this path is just terrifying. If I keep chasing it, if I do everything right and still fail, then what? What's left me after that? Because I honestly think I just have to go back to my childhood dream of becoming a mermaid. So, here's the truth. I am terrified of disappointing the people who have believed in me. Terrified of wasting everything that's been put into this. Terrified of the silence that would follow if I admit that I'm not sure I want this life anymore. It's this constant pressure to just keep going, to make all this pain and suffering worth it. Even when I just don't know what worth it is anymore. Is every sacrifice, every breakdown, every time I've pushed through exhaustion just to prove I wouldn't break, worth it? No one can ever seem to tell you what worth actually means anymore. Is it a scholarship, a trophy, going pro, or just being able to say you didn't give up? It just feels like I'm chasing success that isn't meant for me anymore. But I do tell myself that it will all be worth it one day, even when I just don't know what I'm waiting for. But then, what if I actually quit? what if I wake up one morning and there is no practice, no tournaments, no structure, no identity? Who am I then? What happens when everything I've used to define myself suddenly disappears? That thought scares me the most, I think, because as much as I do struggle with the sport, the idea of not having it at all just feels like losing myself completely. I'm scared that if I let go, I will be left with nothing. No purpose, no direction, just silence. And that fear of failing, after giving everything that I have, is almost worse than the actual failure itself. So, why am I here today? Why have I spent almost 20 minutes of mine and your time just to tell you all about how I feel? Because I believe that it should not be normalized to feel like this. Yes, I believe a lot of you in the room today will be able to relate to what I've said. But that doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form is it okay to feel and think these things about yourself. I'm not going to give you all the speech about who and where you can go to talk about this kind of stuff, because I know you've heard it all before. But all I'm going to say is that you aren't alone. This talk isn't just directed to the student athletes struggling. It's to anyone struggling with the pressures of what they do, whether that's wanting to become a doctor or a pianist. Whatever it is, I promise you that you are nowhere near alone. My name is Molly, not the golfer, just Molly. Thank you for listening. There you go.